Hello people. So what I will do is I will show you how to run Linux all from a USB stick or a USB pen drive. Yes, I actually rename or code my pen drives as well. So as I have many of them from the same brand. So let's get back to the topic. So running, for example, Linux Mint is one of the distributions which I like to run on another computer, but on this old laptop I would like to test it out first before I do a full install. This laptop is currently running Windows 7, 32-bit, and I'm not sure whether it will run 64-bit. So I first what we need to do is let's just get back to basics. First we need an ISO file, okay, which we can run from the pen drive and boot the laptop from it. So first we need to download this. I will include the links in the description. Okay, so you can go to first of all one distro named Linux Mint, for example, and we can go to the download option. When we click on download, it will take you to the current version, which is 17.3, codename Rosa. Okay. Um, Now since I'm running it on an older system, if you have a system with pretty decent RAM and things like that, probably you could select any of these flavors of the distribution, either a cinnamon, or a 32 or a 64-bit. If it's something which you're going to be using commercially, then probably you don't want any of the proprietary codecs, so probably you download this version. And there is Mate or Mate as it is called. I don't know the exact pronunciation, which would be available for older systems with lesser amount of RAM and things like that. So this particular laptop is as you can see, it's a Centrino Duo, pretty old system, 9 years old, and it runs. It has a total of 1.5 GB of RAM, which is not too much. It came with 512 and came with Windows XP. I have upgraded it to Windows 7 and increased 1 GB of RAM. But still, I feel the lag, and that's the reason why I want to test out Linux. But I don't want to go, full blown and install it on the system either as a dual boot or as a primary operating system. Hence, through the pen drive is what I would do. So in order to achieve this, first we need to download the ISO. Like I mentioned, you can download, I have downloaded the 32-bit for Mate or Mate, okay, because I feel that is the one that I want to install. But you can choose, like I mentioned, either one. The next would be download a tool which is required for conversion. Now I found this being a very good tool. Again, this is the web address, that's Unetbootin, okay, and you can download it either for Windows or for Linux or for Mac. Okay, so it's a very good tool for uh, you know and it also gives you the instructions on how you can go ahead and create these drives. Now for speeding up things up, I've already downloaded this. So let me just get to the folder where I've downloaded and we can continue from there. Okay, so here we are. I have the two files. One is the Linux Mate or Mate as you call it, ISO, which is about 1.5 gigs, and the second file, which is the Unetbootin, which I showed you on the second website. Don't worry, the links will be in the description for any of you who would want direct links. So, to start off, first we need to plug in this USB drive, okay, and ensure it's empty, and then we will start off with this procedure. All right. All right. So I've plugged in my USB drive, and as you can see, it already has a lot of information. So I have tried the steps earlier. So I'll just do a shift delete and empty this folder. I don't have to format everything yet. Once I've done that, then what I'll do is I will start off from scratch. You can also go ahead and format the drive, but since I've used it only for this purpose earlier, there won't be much of an issue as such. So this is a drive. I'm using a 16 gig drive, which has about 14.5 gigs free, and this drive would be the one which we are going to use. Alright, and this is the screen from which I'm going to launch the executable or the application which we just downloaded, Unetbootin. It will give you a prompt to run it or not as a permission, administrator permission. So this opens up here. Now you can go ahead and select a distribution from this list, and what it will do is it will help you to get that distribution, but we don't want that. Okay, so if you have an ISO, it doesn't matter whether it is the same distribution or not. Okay, so you may download Ubuntu or you may download Linux Mint, whatever is your preference. So what you would need to do is you need to select the option for disk image and then select it from that particular location. Now as you can see, this Linux Mint was a torrent which I downloaded, so it will be under torrent downloads and completed. So I'll get to that folder and select that particular ISO file. Okay, so as you can see, the ISO file is here. Please note that this I have just copied it for convenience purposes here. So this file was actually in my downloads folder. I've just copied it, for demonstration. So I select the ISO file. As you can see, it's the Mate 32-bit version, and then I click on open, and it is selected, that option. Now space used to preserve files across reboots. Now since I'm using a 16 gig, I will use 2048. That would be around 2 GB of any kind of space that is used. You can select a higher number as well. Okay, so if you place it there, it will tell you space reserved for user files which are preserved across reboots. Works only for live USBs for Ubuntu and derivatives. If value exceeds the drive capacity, then the maximum space available will be used. Okay, so I've mentioned it there. Type would be a USB drive, and always cross-reference. Now in this case it's F drive. I can go ahead and just cross-check it. Remember, if you have some USB drives, USB hard drives, etc., it's always safe to go ahead and check the drive letter first and then continue. So drive F is the one, and then I click on OK, and now it's starting with the procedure. First, what it will do is it will go ahead and extract and copy files. Now downloading files, this would be only if you selected the distributions from the top. Extraction would be, it's now extracting and copying files on your USB pen drive or thumb drive, as you may call it. Then it will install the bootloader, and the installation will be completed, and it will ask you to reboot. Now this will take quite some time, so I'm going to skip this part and move till when this process is completed.